Welcome to the show. I'm your host, Chris James. Who would have ever thought this show was going to last so long? Certainly not me. My wife asked me about what I could find on smoke. Not the stuff you see coming from the stove when I'm cooking, but the spiritual or the metaphysical stuff. Back when I was a firefighter, we did some things that make me shudder even today. If the smoke coming from the structure was black or brown, we carried our air tanks on our backs, but we didn't put the face mask on until it got so bad you couldn't breathe. The idea was to save the air for when it was a real emergency. Only if the smoke had a green tinge did we put the mask on right away. A bad smoke, too many chemicals. You could smell the difference as you approached the structure. After fighting a fire, we would come stumbling out the door and take off enough gear to try and get our uniforms to dry out just a little. This also let some of the heat out and a little bit of cool air in. The weird part was, on every apparatus that we had, there was a small fishing tackle box inside one of the compartments, almost always right by the pump panel. In the little toolbox, the fishing tackle box, was every kind of cigarette you could imagine and some lighters. You didn't want to carry a lighter inside a burning building. Those plastic Bic lighters, bad things could happen. So we left all that out in the truck. We would cough up some black yuck, uh, try and get it out of our lungs, and then we would light a cigarette and smoke. The idea was we were replacing the bad smoke with good smoke. Yeah, I know it wasn't a good idea, and we knew it at the time, but we did it anyway. How many funerals did I go to? Too many. And a lot of them were from heart failure or lung cancer. But hey, that's how we did things back then. We also used to ride on the tailboard of the fire truck. Now, they don't do that anymore because people would fall off and get killed. One thing smoke has been used for years, way back in the day, as they like to say, food was preserved using smoke. It also added flavor to the meat, and it sterilized the food so that you could store it longer. The idea was you would cook at a very low temperature, 225 to 250 degrees Fahrenheit. This is done to expose the food to the smoke from burning wood, which is rich in carbon monoxide and other preservatives, kind of like salt, but there's no salt in the wood. The combination of smoke and low temperatures creates an environment that is inhospitable for the growth of bacteria, microorganisms, or enzymes, which makes the food last longer and taste better. Edgar Casey recommended using oil of smoke for a leg injury. The doctor treating the patient had no idea what oil of smoke was or how to get it. Casey had to go back into a trance, and then he told the doctor where he could find this substance. Sure enough, on the back shelf of a pharmacy, where nobody even knew it was there because it had been there for so long, was a small bottle of oil of smoke. The bar company used to sell oil of smoke. They dealt in all of Edgar Casey's recommendations. I can't really call them cures because the medical field doesn't like that. But you used to be able to buy oil of smoke from the bar company for injuries, open wounds and things. Well, apparently Big Pharma didn't like the fact that people were able to treat themselves, and they kind of put pressure, and now you can't buy the stuff anymore. funny thing, a hidden study. It's hidden because Big Pharma didn't like the outcome. They discovered that aspirin, just plain old aspirin, worked as well, if not better than 95% of all painkillers on the market today. Well, they didn't like that, so they put pressure on this university to not release the study. Well, to release it, but not make a big deal out of it. So most people have never heard this. They like to hand out these new prescription drugs like Halloween candy, and then they're surprised when people become addicted. Hmm, don't you know? What I didn't know back in my firefighting days was there really is good and bad smoke. Now, not so much in a physical sense, but in a spiritual or paranormal sense. Many folks believe smoke has many spiritual meanings and symbols. It was known to be the way God communicated with the Israelites back in the day. In Exodus, it says, as soon as the sun rose, the fire became a white cloud. When this cloud went before the army of Israel, it assumed the form of a column so that by day it resembled a dark column of smoke rising up towards the heavens, and by night a column of fire to show the whole army what direction to take. God showed himself as a pillar of smoke. When used as a symbol in a story, smoke typically indicated that something significant is taking place in that story. Some people consider smoke to be the human spirit, while others consider it to be the Holy Spirit. Smoke may also symbolize the act of cleaning or purifying something, and it may at times be used to illustrate the process of metamorphosis. Some folks have come out with dream interpretations on what you see while you're asleep. If you dream about seeing smoke, like you're in a room filled with smoke or you're outside in a smoky field, it is said your aspirations are too high, or they are very high, but you need to proceed with caution. If you can't see anything in your dream due to the smoke, the interpretation is you're having a hard time getting what you desire. A lot of smoke can also suggest a current issue has to be resolved. A dreaming of smoke won't tell you what direction you need to take, only that you need to keep going in whichever direction you are going. A dream in which you see smoke when there is no fire may suggest that you want to run away from your responsibilities. You may have doubts about your ability to do your work. It's possible that you need to improve your performance. If you have a dream with fire and smoke, your life is entirely disorganized and you have no power to stop it. When air and fire, two of Earth's primary substances, collide, a warning signal is being generated, which you may or may not have noticed at the time. As in the case of fire and smoke, a combination of negative attitudes and behaviors may be extinguished. What caught fire and how you react can be used as an indicator of what is going on in your life. If in your dream the smoke is coming from your nose, this is supposed to show that your health may be in trouble. It could also show you it's time to slow down and take it easy for a bit. You don't have to run to the doctor saying there's something wrong with you. Any doctor today will be able to find something wrong with you and then prescribe a whole lot of pills for you to take. Got to keep big pharma in the big bucks. One pill makes you smaller, while another makes you large. Correction, I got that backwards. One pill makes you larger, while another makes you small. White Rabbit from Jefferson Airplane. If you don't recognize the song, there was a movie called Go Ask Alice. Yeah, it was about drug addiction. Better living through chemical dependency. After taking it easy for a while, you might dream of smoke coming from your mouth. This is your body saying you have relaxed long enough. Now, it's not time for you to go start running a marathon or working extra hard again. It just means that you've hit the point where your body is beginning to recover. Cigar smoke appearing in a dream warns you are the target of someone else's attempt to exert control over you. This individual has a significant impact on you and is keeping something from you that they know that you want to know. Probably some politician. Take some time to reflect on the people in your immediate vicinity and try to decide if having them around is really a good thing. One of your acquaintances might be drawing energy from you like a psychic vampire. If you're if you dream that smoke is coming out of a chimney, it suggests you have to put in a lot of effort, or that you have put in a lot of effort. This dream could possibly be a message from the people around you, letting you know that they recognize how hard you're working, even if they're not saying anything about it. They're thinking about how hard you're working, and that's causing you to dream about a chimney smoking. Seeing smoke coming from a chimney can also suggest what you're doing is worthwhile, even if nobody is saying anything about it. Seeing smoke while awake could have a meaning other than that there's a fire. The color of the smoke says different things to different people. There are many representations of smoke in the spiritual world, but it all depends on the color of the smoke and where it's coming from. Now, all Catholics are familiar with the ritual of the white and black smoke that accompanies the election of a new pope. When white smoke emanates from the roof of the Sistine Chapel in Rome, it means a new pope has been chosen. If black smoke emerges, an agreement is yet to be reached. White smoke is an indication a spirit appearance is forming nearby. White smoke, white wisps in the air, or a whitish apparition are all signs of you interacting with light energy, such as an angel or one of the ascended masters. Have you seen the video from that man who saw what looked like an angel up over his head? I couldn't find the thing when I wanted it. What was surprising was the white cloud that looked exactly like an angel didn't change shape after nearly a half a minute. Some cultures emphasize the veneration and enjoyment of these spirits. Most people have no problem having them around. White can mean energy from the sun is being manifest nearby, or it could mean you're being visited by an angel. You just might think that black smoke is something nasty or evil, but it's not. Black smoke denotes moon energy, which is deep, primordial, and associated with the feminine. A manifestation of the feminine or an indication of the presence of protective earth spirits like gnomes can be the outcome of seeing black wisps of smoke. It's also possible that the energy from your aura is very thick or dense. It is also possible that a lot of feminine energy surrounds you. Now, this isn't that you're turning into a woman or something like that. It's that we all, the yin and the yang. You have male, female, you have white, black, you have male energy and female energy. So hopefully you're not getting too confused by some of this. I know I did. When the smoke is gray, it means everything is going well. It's balanced. If this is the case, you're doing something correctly and should just keep doing it. Gray smoke can also mean that something in your life is about to change for the better, or it's time for you to make a change that will lead to something better. When I was a firefighter, we had to be able to define smoke. Smoke is the visible product of incomplete combustion. In the spiritual world, smoke that rises from a fire is a symbol of power. Fire has the power to make, destroy, cleanse, and alter anything it touches, and the smoke is the change as it takes place. Fire represents the creative force inside of us. It enables us to conquer our anxieties, express ourselves openly, and experience life to its fullest. A lot of UFO sightings have taken place because the witnesses have stepped outside for a cigarette. Cam Hale and Kyle Filson are always asking why so many people say they stepped outside for a smoke and then they saw something. When you need a cigarette, well, it's a physical thing. You feel the need for nicotine. Could the aliens be sending or emitting something that is like this need for smoke? Some kind of an energy that when it hits certain people's bodies, it manifests itself as being a need for nicotine? Or could this just be some kind of a weird coincidence? When smoke is seen following you, and it's a sign that you're heading in the right direction. You have been exerting as much effort as possible to reach your destination, and the fact that the smoke is now following you around is evidence that your efforts have been successful. We're not talking about a billowing cloud of black smoke coming from your exhaust pipe. That could mean something a lot worse. This is more like when you're walking or riding a bike and there's no reason for smoke to be anywhere around you. Smoke symbolizes cleansing since it is used in many religions for this purpose. When Native Americans are getting ready for a ceremony, they smudge themselves. Taoist monks use smoke from holy fire to purify themselves. Smoke has to be the product of a clean substance. A car fire has a smell to it that you won't soon forget. A campfire is nearly hypnotic, and the smell is peaceful and relaxing. Food cooked over a wood fire tastes far better than any other form of cooking. Historically, characters who are philosophical or contemplative were portrayed as smokers. A pipe gives a wise man time to stop and collect his thoughts, and a fool something to stick in his face. This trend has since gone out of favor, giving the growing awareness of the dangers of smoking to one's health. As cigarette companies add all kinds of chemicals to A, make smoking more addictive, and B, keep the cigarettes burning. A natural tobacco goes out after a few minutes if you don't keep drawing on it. Those of y'all that smoke cigars will realize this. You light a cigar and you smoke it and you set it down in an ashtray for a couple minutes. When you come back, the thing has gone out. That's because it's natural tobacco. If it keeps burning, the chemical companies have done something to it, which means you're sucking on chemicals. Yuck. Tobacco smoke is actually used in many ceremonies. Now, not the stuff found in a cigarette, once again. The natural leaf that grows is dried and then burned. There are folks out there who grow tobacco just for ceremonial use. And yes, you can buy it at Amazon.com. It's organic, natural tobacco. Just look it up in case you need any. In case you're going to go somewhere where you need to appease some Indian spirits with tobacco, that's the stuff you want to take. Don't take them a pack of nasty things you buy at a convenience store. They're liable to get upset with you. The smoke has to be the smoke has the potential to awaken within you a consciousness regarding angels. The Bible has several passages that talk about angels. When an angel came to Manoah and made a prophecy regarding the birth of Samson, it was written that the angel rose into the heavens on a cloud of smoke. Seeing smoke can also mean your guardian angel is close by. Many religious ceremonies involve smoke. The first recorded use of incense was by the Egyptians during the 5th dynasty, which was 2345 to 2494 years before Christ. Incense use in religious rituals was simultaneously developed in China, and eventually it traveled to Korea, Japan, Myanmar, Vietnam, Cambodia, Thailand, Indonesia, Malaysia, Singapore, and the Philippines. It moved real rapidly because it was popular real quick. Incense holds an invaluable role in East Asian Buddhist ceremonies and rites, as well as those of the Chinese Taoists and Japanese Shinto shrines. Uh, the gods are attracted to the smell of burning incense. In some cases, demons are as well. In Chinese Taoist and Buddhist temples, the inner spaces are scented with thick coiled incense. Worshippers light and burn sticks of incense in bundles, which they wave or hold over their heads while bowing to statues or plaques of the deities or of their ancestors. Individual sticks of incense are placed in censers located in front of the statues and plaques, either singularly or in threes, depending on the statue and the deity or the feelings of the individual. In Japanese Shinto shrines to Inari Okami, or the seven lucky gods, and Buddhist temples, the sticks of incense are placed horizontally into censers on top of ash, since their sticks don't have an inner supporting core. Incense has been employed in worship by Christians since antiquity, particularly in the Roman Catholic Church, Eastern Catholic Church, Orthodox Christian churches, Lutheran churches, and some Anglican churches. Incense is increasingly used among some other Christian groups as well. The Book of Worship of the United Methodist Church calls for incense in the evening praise and prayer service. The practice is rooted in the early tradition of Judaism in the time of the Second Jewish Temple. The smoke of burning incense is interpreted by many churches as a symbol of prayers being funneled up into the heavens. Revelations 8, 3 and 4 says, "Another angel with a golden censer came and stood at the altar. He was given a great quantity of incense to offer with the prayers of all the saints on the golden altar that is before the throne. And the smoke of the incense with the prayers of the saints rose before God from the hand of the angel." As part of the daily ritual worship within the Hindu tradition, incense is offered to God in his many deity forms, such as Krishna and Rama. This practice is still commonplace throughout modern day India and Hindus all around the world. It is said in the Bhagav, I've said this word before, now I can't say it. Bhagavata Gita that Krishna accepts the offers made to him with love, and it is on this principle that articles are offered each day by temple priests or by those with an altar in their homes or businesses. Incense is used in several events, such as the Tafida graduation ceremony, and the most notable, the regular rite of purification and cleansing, the Kaaba in Mecca. It is to perfume the air and uplift the souls of pilgrims. According to the hadith of the Prophet Muhammad, the angels love fragrant smells and they hate foul smells. Incense is also often used in pagan rituals to represent the element of air. Although more modern approaches to incense magic demonstrate that incense actually represents all of the elements. This is attributed to the fact that incense smoke wafts through the air, it is created using fire, it is produced with raw materials that are grown on the earth, and combustible incense is formed using water. So incense is all four of the elements. Libanomancy, try that again. Libanomancy, I think that's how it's pronounced, is a divination method that uses incense smoke to read the future. Libanomancy. Hmm. The practice is believed to have originated in ancient Babylon, and it was used to predict everything from the weather to the outcome of a battle. To use smoke, you'll need a censer, a container for burning the incense stick, and some paper or parchment. You write your question on the paper or the parchment, then you light the incense stick. You hold the censer over the paper or the parchment and you wait for the smoke to rise. Hold the censer over the paper. The shape of the smoke can tell you a lot about what is ahead. For example, if the smoke curls up towards the sky, it means good news is on the way. If the smoke billows outwards, it's a sign that something bad is going to happen. A smoke rising quickly means that the event will happen soon, and smoke rising slowly means that the event will happen in the future. If you're going into battle and you ask the gods about the battle, and your incense smoke rises straight up, it means go whip their backsides. If, on the other hand, the smoke just kind of zips around all over the room, maybe you don't want to go fighting those folks. Incense smoke is often seen as a meaningful symbol in different cultures. Whether it's used to signify purification, spiritual awakening, or simply as a pleasant aroma, incense smoke can hold significant meaning for those who use it. Slow burning incense is considered to be more peaceful and calming, while I've got Daleks in the studio again. While fast burning incense is thought to be more energizing. This is because the slower the smoke rises, the more it is associated with ascending to heaven and gaining a deeper understanding of spiritual realm. The faster the smoke rises, the more it is associated with worldly matters and getting things done. Smoke reading involves observing the pattern formed by incense smoke and interpreting their meanings. The shape and movement of the smoke can be symbolic of different things, such as your future, your current situation, or even the will of the gods. When you light a stick of incense, the smoke will drift and curl in unique patterns. By studying these patterns, you can begin to understand the message that the gods are sending you. Make sure you're in a room with no air movement. That way, the smoke won't be influenced by external forces. It's important to be calm and have an open mind. The best place to do your smoke reading is the meditation space, if you have one. If you don't, some quiet room where you're not going to be distracted. Ask your question clearly. It is best to write the question on your paper. Patience is key when reading incense smoke. If you rush through it, you may miss important details that could help you interpret the message correctly. When incense is burned, the smoke produced typically goes straight up into the air. If the smoke goes straight up, it means that something good is going to happen. It means you are spiritually strong and focused. If the smoke goes downwards, well, it means you're losing your spiritual grounding. Maybe something bad is about to happen. If the smoke goes to the right, it means that your wish will come true. If the smoke goes to the left, well, bad news. You're not going to get what you're asking for. When you see incense smoke blowing towards you, it is a sign that somebody is thinking about you. If the smoke is moving away from you, well, you're pretty much being ignored. If the smoke forms a tight, compact circle, your intention is focused and will manifest quickly. If the smoke is thin and dissipates quickly, it means that your intention is not as strong and it's easily messed up. If the smoke forms a spiral shape, it could represent new beginnings or spiritual growth. If it starts to bend or swirl in a particular direction, it could be an indication that somebody is nearby. I wonder if I could use incense smoke the next time we go on a ghost hunt. Might have to give it a try. Smoke suddenly changing direction or it stops moving altogether, it could be a sign that something important is about to happen. If the smoke is diffuse and has no clear shape, it could represent confusion or chaos. I get a lot of that in my life. If the smoke trail splits in two, you're at a crossroads in your life and you'll have to decide which direction you need to head. Pay attention to your intuition as it will guide you to the right path. Many people believe that seeing the infinity symbol, that's that thing that looks like a figure eight, in the smoke is a sign of good luck or good fortune. Other symbols that are often associated with positive meaning include hearts, stars, and moons. I've never seen any of these shapes with incense, but then I've never actually sat there and stared at it for a long period of time. Guess what I'm going to do later today? Smoke that is thick and dense indicates you're surrounded by negativity. This is a sign that you need to cleanse your space and remove any negative energy that is present. Thick smoke that can indicate that you're holding something within you that is weighing you down. There's some kind of a past uh, thing that is causing your current situation to be very negative. If you've never heard of cleansing, well, it's time to get started. If the smoke is rising steadily and evenly, it's a good sign that your future prospects are bright. You're going to have to wear sunglasses. Smoke that is choppy or the flame of the incense abruptly lights, it could be an indication that there's some obstacle in your path. Smoke is viewed in many traditions to be a bridge between the world that we can see and the one that we can't. Smoke plays a crucial role in shamanism and often serves as a healing medicine itself in native ceremonies. Smudging is a ceremony that consists of burning plant herbs and resins in either a clay or a shell bowl while prayers are being done. This results in a smoke cloud formation that is believed to cleanse the air as well as those within it. Smudging is the most popular ritual used to clear people and places of negative energy. It is used among many Indians, feather, not dot, within the Western Hemisphere, and it plays an active role for centuries. Now, I don't know if there's any such rituals in India. My listeners over there, if you'd let me know, I'll let the listeners know, the other listeners. Smudging is a bridge between mortal life and the higher realms, bringing in good spirits and eliminating any negative, stagnant ones. This ceremony lifts away any sadness, impurities, and anxiety and remediates poor health, leaves nothing but peace and harmony for both the individual and the environment after the cleansing. The substance you use in the ceremony depends on your hopes for the outcome. Sage, both Salvia apiana, which is white sage, and Salvia officinalis, which is common sage, are healing herbs. The term salvia comes from the Latin word salvare, which means to feel healthy and well, and for healing. Both white sage and common sage are used to offer strength clarity, wisdom, and often represents the maternal lineage of women. Cedar is popular for cleaning and purifying, eliminating evil spirits within people and objects to remediate balance. Burning cedar is also used to promote positive and deeply connect humans to the spiritual world. Sweetgrass, also known as the hair of Mother Earth, is widely used by all Native Americans. Sweetgrass is believed to carry prayers into the spirit world. The smoke from the herb is said to take the words and translate them over to the other side. It is also known as holy grass, and when it burns, it doesn't produce much of a flame, but it does create a whole lot of very sweet smelling smoke. Thus the name, sweetgrass. Tobacco is a highly sacred medicine, and in many cultures it is firmly believed to be the ideal bridge between humans and the spirit world. It doesn't need to be smoked, but it's still able to provide spiritual beliefs. Whenever certain tribes are going to take a journey, like say they're going to row across the lake, they will leave a small pile of tobacco on the edge of the lake. That is to appease the lake spirits. The use of this acts as a human commitment established and supported by the spirit world, as showing gratitude for the life that you're leading. Depending on who you talk to, you'll get some different answers. Some say you'll need a decent sized feather or a smudging stick to wave the smoke around. Don't go looking for an eagle feather. To begin with, it's illegal for you to have one. And second of all, you don't even really need a feather. You can just use your hand if you want. Some people say you got to use a feather, and others say you don't. If you are partaking in this ritual inside, make sure to open a couple of windows to get a steady flow of air. It also will allow the negative energy someplace to exit the building. You don't want to be walking around in a huge cloud of smoke. It will displace the oxygen and make you lightheaded. Make sure you are fully present and focused. If you're distracted in any way, it can make the smudging process ineffective, and it won't clear the house at all. It won't clear you either. Use a match to ignite the herbs inside the bowl and let them flame up for about 20 or 30 seconds before you extinguish the fire by placing your hands over the bowl to extinguish the flame. That gets rid of the oxygen. You're not supposed to blow the flame out. It's just not proper. Now be careful when you put your hands over the bowl because it's going to be hot, but you're trying to extinguish the oxygen. A smoke will begin to rise from the herbs in the bowl. Use that to smudge yourself using the stick or the feather or your hand. You want to start at the top of your head and move down to your feet. Then you want to move around your surrounding space. Make sure to do this slowly. You want to stay relaxed while you're doing it. As you enter the home, try to cover every corner as you go and every item. Do not rush through the ceremony. Walk to each corner and push the smoke into them. Stand over each piece of furniture, and if need be, you get down on your knees and put the smoke under the furniture. You want smoke to enter every space available. Move from room to room. Be sure to get every one of them. Don't forget the closets and the thunder room. If you don't know what the thunder room is, it's the bathroom. Thunder room, throne room, water closet, crapper, as in John Crap, the guy that built the thing. Once you are finished, take the ashes from the herbs outside and return them to the soil. Do not throw them in the trash can. You're supposed to dump them out on the ground. This signifies the energy is being given back to the earth, and it shows respect for what you've been doing. Historical Native Americans, Indians, believe that the power of herbs and healing are the optimal solution to rid the body and the environment of unwanted thoughts, feelings, spirits, negative energy to promote a higher state of well being. The respect of nature and the use of the gifts that the earth has provided to heal and promote positive influence is something strongly tied to most indigenous cultures. Primitive cultures used to burn their dead, as seeing the smoke rising as the material manifestation of the soul's journey traveling up to the sky. Vikings had their cremation of the dead. The Viking funeral involved the departed being placed on a ship or a raft, pushed out into the fjord. We're not going to talk about the thrall and her job. This started his journey towards the afterlife, and then flaming arrows would be fired at it until the entire ship was ablaze, and the spirit of the dead Viking would be carried up to Valhalla by the smoke as it ascended into the night sky. Smoke was used extensively in Aboriginal rituals. A woman who was about to give birth would crouch over a fire, and then, after giving birth, she would hold her baby in the smoke to seal his spirit into his mortal body. At each big step in the child's life, he would be purified and sealed by the smoke once again. This was particularly evident at the coming of age ceremony. Males were circumcised, and then they stood in the smoke to help heal the help heal the wound. The boys also believed that they placed soaked lily leaves or damp grass on some heated stones. The steam rising from it would not only purify them as it passed through their bodies, but it would also make them grow strong. Indians used smoke for many things. The Navajo share a belief with the Pygmies, whom, according to those people, they should never have met. The house of dead people would be set on fire, as were the bodies themselves. The mourners would then stand in the smoke from this fire in order to cleanse themselves of the energy of death. Why Navajo and Pygmies have the same tradition makes you wonder. Did they meet at some time in the past? Probably. Some Indians use smoke to communicate, the smoke signals. A fire is started someplace high up on a hill or on top of a mesa so that the smoke can be seen for a long distance. Damp leaves would be added to the fire, which would create a lot of smoke. A blanket is draped in sequence over the fire, and it would trap the smoke, causing gaps in the smoke column. This would deliver a message to far off tribal members. There is no standardized code that is being transmitted. It's not like Morse code. You don't sit there and watch the puffs of smoke and say dot, 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 dash, dash. It doesn't work like that. What would happen is the person seeing these puffs of smoke would know beforehand what the different puffs symbolized. It was a prearranged signal. In Trinidad, corn is placed on a fire and a feather is waved over the fire to make sure that the smoke covers a male participant. Cigar and tobacco smoke is also puffed over a man by a shaman. This is to cleanse and strengthen him. Any smoke entering the body's orifices, like you take a deep breath or it goes in someplace else, is supposed to take the power of the spirit into the body. Taoists believe that holy smoke from joss sticks can ward off negative energies and evil spirits, and it will also attract the blessings of the gods. Another use of smoke by the monks is a burning joss paper. They use two kinds of ceremonies. One is to send up purified smoke as a sign of thanks to the gods, and the other is to you write your wishes on the piece of paper and you burn it, and you're asking for either a blessing or for your sins to be removed. It's their form of confession, I guess. In rituals similar to smudging, you can also use other natural substances to cleanse yourself or your home. There are other substances that you can burn for a variety of outcomes. African violet is used for protection and to promote spirituality within your home. Basil is to exorcise or protect against evil entities such as demons and unfriendly ghosts. These would be the ghosts of IRS agents and politicians. Basil, like as in Basil Fawlty. Those of y'all that watch Deadpool, you may have wondered why he asked that guy if his name was Basil Fawlty. And if you'd never watched Fawlty Towers, well, you might not get the joke. When Monty Python went off the air, John Cleese had his own little series called Fawlty Towers, and his name was Basil. And now you know. Yes, I watched every episode, and it was hilarious. Clove is to stop or prevent the spread of gossip. A dragon's blood is for protection when spell casting is invoked. So if you walk into some witch's home and the place smells like dragon blood, I guess that means they've been casting spells, maybe. A fumitory is to exorcise demons. I don't know what fumitory smells like. I've never seen it in an incense stick, but now I'm going to have to look. I don't have any demons in the house as far as I know, but I'm still going to look for it. Galangal burned is to break curses cast by sorcerers. Mint is to increase sexual desire, exorcise evil supernatural entities, conjure beneficial spirits, and to attract money. I need to find some mint and burn it for the money. I could use some. Rose is to increase courage and induce prophetic dreams. Sage is for protection against all forms of evil. I have sage growing all over my front yard. The front hedge is all sage. Vervain is to exorcise evil supernatural entities. Why is smoke so multidimensional? It effortlessly crosses the paths of every belief system, from pagan rituals to Christian mass. Back before everything went crazy, smoke was almost always seen around a campfire, which was a welcome sight. The essence of smoke is mystical and evocative and is the fundamental human symbol that crosses all boundaries. Since man's first fascination with fire, which remains the heart of civilization, smoke has been seen as the embodiment of powerful elements. As the dead were being burned, the smoke would be seen to carry their spirits away to the next life, the next world or dimension. There is a propensity for using smoke for protection against malign energies. Since fire is considered to be made up of pure energy, the smoke that comes from it is also considered to be pure. Smoke has been seen as the center of sacrifice when offerings were burned, as prayers drifting up to God, as a symbol of our love being sent to God, of the union of people when used in a pipe as the means of signaling, and with its ethereal qualities as an obvious manifestation of spirits or ghosts. The Indian peace pipe, which is actually known as the sacred pipe, if you don't know what it is, look it up. It's a long pipe that the Indians would use as ceremonial means. Often used in a religious ceremony, the pipe is smoked to seal a covenant or treaty, or to offer prayers to the four directions. It is not restricted to being used only by Indians, but is a symbolic and it's a sacred thing. It must be respected by everyone. And the tobacco that you use is that clean stuff. The sacred pipe was revered as a holy object, and the sacrament of smoking was employed as a major means of communication between humans and sacred beings. The narcotic effect of the tobacco and the symbolism of the indrawn and ascending smoke affirmed that such communications took place. And we have something called a smoke wolf. According to sources, depending on which one you read, it's either a huge wolf like creature that lives in northern Scandinavia or the Appalachian Mountains. This creature is a myth and legend. It is the color of smoke, and it has bright red eyes that glow from within, the fire of the beast that is causing the smoke. It is one of the most aggressive predators. Unlike other wolves, it doesn't hunt in a pack and it doesn't live with other smoke wolves. It is solitary and is only seen on occasion near campfires. The wolf is attracted to the smell of smoke. It will come in close enough to see if there's anything or anyone available for a snack. A few legends say that the wolf can start a fire by using its otherworldly eyes. The boys in Mountain Monsters went looking for the smoke wolf. They set an elaborate monster trap that didn't work, and they ran around pointing shotguns at everything. Now, I have to say, if I was looking for some kind of a monster in the mountains, like Wild Bill Neff does, I would carry something a lot better than a single shot 12 gauge. They also found a huge den full of smoke wolf prey. The show was a mess, and as far as the legend of smoke wolf goes, somebody didn't do their research. At least that's the way I see it. Another attribute of the smoke wolf is it is made up of smoke. It forms up when it wants to eat, and then it fades back into nothing. A guy I used to work with had a weird smoke story. John and Cindy were living in an old ranch house on Pico Road. Early one morning, John woke to find the room was full of smoke. His first thought was the house is on fire. He yelled and he woke his wife, and they went looking for the source of the fire. The only room being affected was the bedroom. None of the other rooms had any smoke in them. Then it dawned on them there was no smell. It didn't smell like smoke, it only looked like smoke. They walked back into the bedroom and the smoke was gone. There was no sign, no indication that it had ever been there. This is the first and the last time anything like this ever happened to them, and I'm still trying to figure out what it meant. That was all I could find in regards to smoke and rituals. There are probably a few I missed. I was trying to work on the show and clean the house at the same time, and, well, I'm only good at one thing at a time. I like my show to be at least an hour long, and so I went looking for a few things to fill in the last couple of minutes. Thalmogenesis refers to the process through which a demon is believed to be created by the means of a resurrection technique. This means that when a resurrection spell is used, two holes are created and two spiritual entities may enter the world of the living. One of these entities being the spirit of whoever is being resurrected, and the second is an entity of a demon that is created in the process. In the case where there's only one hole that opens, residual demonic energy from the other dimension can cling to the spirit of the person being resurrected. and then this demon energy crosses into our world. When reaching the world of the living, the residual demonic energy can concentrate and result in the creation of a demon. After the resurrection spell is complete, the two entities have crossed over are said to be linked in the level of existence, such that if the resurrected individual dies, the demon will cease to be. In addition, it is believed that the existence of the new demon is temporary unless that demon can find some host to take over. Also, the demon, if he manages to kill the resurrected person before that person dies of something else, then the demon will no longer be attached to his spirit. In the past, it was also believed that the shadow of a living being was its soul or part of its soul. In many languages, the word for shadow also carries the meaning of spirit. Thus, numerous practices and rituals have been developed in order to influence a being by means of its shadow. By acting magically on the shadow, one acts on the being in question. Everything that happens to a person's shadow is said to somehow be felt in the physical body. The shadow was seen as the soul of the person in its living manifestation, and when the shadow was not visible, it was believed that the soul had retreated inside the body to enter a temporary state of hibernation. When the shadow reappeared, it was believed that the soul had come back out of the body to do what it's supposed to do. Numerous rituals in ancient past concerned the shadow, once believed to be connected to the spirit. It was once believed that the spirit could leave the body for limited periods of time without causing the death of the individual, but this separation was dangerous. If somebody intervened magically, say some sorcerer or magician, they could capture the soul, and that would cause the body to die. Other sorcerers could choose to work on the shadow in order to influence that particular person. As the suggestions to form a certain action comes from within, acting on the shadow could mean acting on the spirit inside and determine that the individual does what the sorcerer or magician wants them to do. Following the same principle, some African tribes believe that a man can be killed by throwing a spear at his shadow. They also believe that dreams are seen as the unclear memories of this nocturnal journeys of your spirit or shadow. I also looked into ritual hand gestures, but I came across something else instead. Now, the ritual hand gestures was interesting, but what I found, well, let me give it to you and see what y'all think. We speak with our hands, or at least you should. Researchers have found that infants who use hand gestures at 18 months old have a greater language ability. And the hand gestures show a greater form of intelligence. Hand gestures make people listen to you. Gestures make people pay attention to the acoustics of speech. Hand gestures also come naturally to us. Nonverbal explanations help you understand more. One study found that forcing children to gesture while they explain how to solve math problems helped them to learn new problem solving strategies in the future. Appropriate hand gestures, the appropriate hand gesture space is from the top of your chest down to the bottom of your waist. If you go too high or too low, it's seen as a distracting or that you're out of control while you're speaking. There are some hand gestures that you just want to avoid unless you're trying to start a fight. Now, we all know what those are. If you watch politicians and celebrities, there are some hand gestures that they use that have been associated with the New World Order. It's like they're sending secret messages out to their flunkies. Now, I move my hands around a lot while I'm doing the show. And since my camera only catches me from about the chest up, you don't see my hands moving around because they're actually underneath the keyboard. But if you notice while I'm moving back and forth, that's because my hands, my arms are drawing my body back and forth. This is normal, I guess. I always thought it was being me just being weird, but also whenever you see me doing this, I'm trying to relieve the pressure on my back. Uh, I have 3 herniated discs. Oh, yes, being old. Sometimes it's not fun, but it beats the alternative. I hope you enjoyed tonight's show. If you did, let your neighbors, let your friends, let people you don't even know what they're missing. Tell them to listen up. If you are following the bogus anomalous group, Pam Bogus and a bunch of psychics, well, I've made it through the halfway point. Once I finish up with the bag company, I might do This Sucks, or I might read Flying Saucers Attack Walmart. If you're enjoying the stories, let other people know what they're missing. If you're not enjoying the stories, stop listening. I'm not forcing you to do it. Until next Saturday, this is Chris James for Strange Things. And if you want, you can now hum the exit music.